Horror movies are one of the most popular genres in cinema. And for good reason. They're always entertaining. And they can leave you feeling scared and on the edge of your seat. Some of the most famous horror movies of all time include The Exorcist, Saw, The Ring, The Shining, and Poltergeist. Each one is unique and terrifying in its own way. Let's go greater than. Did you learn something new every day? Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Then, press the notification all button. Number 10 on our list is The Exorcist. The Exorcist has become a classic in the horror genre and is often regarded as one of the scariest movies of all time. The film, released in 1973, is based on William Peter Blatty's novel of the same name, and tells the story of a young girl named Regan who becomes possessed by a malevolent entity. The film's depiction of possession and demonic forces left audiences terrified and disturbed. The Exorcist's ability to create an atmosphere of fear through its use of sound effects, lighting, makeup, and special effects was revolutionary for its time. The iconic scene where Regan's head rotates 360 degrees while she spews green vomit remains one of the most shocking moments in cinema history. The psychological terror inflicted on both Regan and her mother throughout the movie also adds to its horror elements. Despite being over 4 decades old, The Exorcist continues to captivate audiences with its disturbing imagery and themes. It remains a staple in horror movie marathons during the Halloween season and serves as inspiration for many modern-day exorcism films. Coming in at number 9 is The Shining. The Shining is a classic horror movie, directed by Stanley Kubrick, and released in 1980. It follows the story of Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, who takes a job as the caretaker of an isolated hotel during the winter season. As he spends more time with his family in the hotel, he begins to spiral into insanity and becomes a threat to everyone around him. One of the most iconic scenes in The Shining is when Jack breaks through a door with an axe while shouting, "Here's Johnny." This scene has become one of the most famous moments in horror movie history, and has been parodied numerous times. Another chilling aspect of this movie is its eerie soundtrack, which adds to its suspenseful atmosphere. Overall, The Shining continues to be regarded as one of the best horror movies ever made due to its excellent direction, performances, and unforgettable scenes that have become deeply ingrained in pop culture. Its legacy will continue to inspire future generations of filmmakers and viewers alike. Like this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share your family and friends. At number 8 is Psycho. Psycho is a horror classic that has stood the test of time. Directed by Alfred Hitchcock in 1960. It tells the story of Marion Crane who steals $40,000 from her employer and ends up at the Bates Motel, where she meets Norman Bates. What follows is a twisted tale of murder and madness that has become synonymous with the horror genre. The film's most iconic scene features Janet Leigh in the shower as she is brutally stabbed to death by an unknown assailant. The use of quick cuts and intense music creates a sense of chaos and terror that still resonates with audiences today. Anthony Perkins' performance as Norman Bates also deserves recognition for his ability to portray both vulnerability and insanity in a single character. Psycho's impact on horror cinema cannot be overstated. It helped usher in a new era of psychological horror that relied less on supernatural elements and more on human psychology. Its influence can still be seen in modern horror films such as Jordan Peele's Get Out, which similarly explores themes of identity, control, and manipulation. Number 7 on our list is Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby is a classic psychological horror movie that has stood the test of time. The story follows Rosemary, a young woman who moves into a new apartment with her husband Guy when she becomes pregnant. As the pregnancy progresses, Rosemary begins to suspect that something is not quite right with her baby, and suspects that there may be sinister forces at work behind the scenes. What makes Rosemary's Baby so terrifying is its ability to tap into the Fears and anxieties of modern society. The film explores themes such as paranoia, isolation, and powerlessness, which are all too familiar in today's world. Director Roman Polanski does an excellent job of creating tension and suspense throughout the film, building towards an unforgettable climax that will leave you on edge. Overall, Rosemary's Baby remains one of the scariest horror movies ever made due to its unsettling storyline and masterful execution. It continues to inspire fear in viewers decades after its release, and serves as a testament to how powerful storytelling can be when done correctly in cinema. Like this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share your family and friends.
At number 6 is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a legendary horror movie that has made its mark in the genre. The plot revolves around a group of friends who stumble upon a house where they encounter a family of cannibals, led by Leatherface. The chainsaw-wielding killer became an iconic figure in the horror world and inspired many other movies. The film's gritty and realistic style adds to its terrifying nature. It doesn't rely on special effects or jump scares, but rather creates an atmosphere of dread throughout the entire movie. Director Tobe Hooper's use of handheld cameras and chaotic editing adds to the feeling that anything could happen at any moment. Overall, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not for the faint-hearted. Its disturbing imagery and intense violence have earned it a spot on many lists of top horror movies ever made. If you're looking for a truly terrifying experience, give this classic film a watch. Just make sure you can handle it. Coming in at number 5 is The Silence of the Lambs. The Silence of the Lambs is a classic horror movie that has stood the test of time. It is based on the novel written by Thomas Harris and was directed by Jonathan Demme. The film stars Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling, an FBI trainee who is tasked with interviewing Dr. Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, a brilliant psychiatrist and cannibalistic serial killer. One of the reasons why this movie is so scary is because of its psychological depth. It delves into the mind of a psychopath in a way that had not been done before in cinema. Anthony Hopkins' portrayal of Dr. Hannibal Lecter earned him an Academy Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role, which speaks volumes about how he brought this character to life. The Silence of the Lambs also features some iconic scenes that have become part of pop culture histories, such as when Dr. Lecter delivers his chilling line, "I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti." This film set the bar high for horror movies to come, and remains one of the scariest movies ever made to this day. Like this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share your family and friends. Number 4 on our list is Alien. Alien is a sci-fi horror movie that has been hailed as one of the scariest movies of all time. The movie follows the crew of a spaceship who encounter an alien creature T-Hat infiltrates their ship and hunts them down one by one. The suspenseful atmosphere, clever use of lighting and sound effects, and stunning visual effects make Alien a masterpiece in the horror genre. The titular alien creature is also one of the most iconic monsters in cinematic history. With its elongated head, razor-sharp teeth, and acidic blood, it's easy to see why audiences were terrified when they first laid eyes on it. The tension builds throughout the movie, until its explosive finale when Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, faces off against the beast in a battle for survival. Overall, Alien is not just a horror movie with jump scares. It's a masterclass in creating suspenseful storytelling with complex characters and believable world building. It continues to inspire filmmakers today over 4 decades since its release. At number 3 is The Babadook. The Babadook is a 2014 Australian horror film directed by Jennifer Kent. The movie follows Amelia, a single mother who is struggling to deal with the grief of losing her husband in a car accident. Her son, Samuel, begins to have nightmares about a monster named the Babadook that he believes has come to kill them both. As Amelia starts to experience strange occurrences around their house, She begins to believe there may be some truth to Samuel's fears. The Babadook is widely regarded as one of the scariest horror movies of all time due to its unique storytelling and suspenseful atmosphere. The use of practical effects and minimal CGI creates an eerie and unsettling feeling throughout the movie that keeps audiences on edge. Additionally, the performances by Essie Davis, Amelia, and Noah Wiseman, Samuel, are praised for their authenticity and emotional depth. Overall, The Babadook offers a fresh take on traditional horror tropes through its exploration of grief, mental illness, and motherhood. Its ability to scare audiences while also delivering a poignant message makes it stand out among other horror classics. Like this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share your family and friends. Coming in at number 2 is Hereditary. One of the scariest horror movies of all time is Hereditary. This movie is a mind-bending and deeply disturbing story about a family that becomes haunted by their ancestors' legacy. The film starts with Annie Graham, played by Toni Collette, attending her mother's funeral with her husband and 2 children, Peter and Charlie. After the death of her mother, Annie begins to notice strange occurrences around the house that seems to be connected to her family's dark past. As the story progresses, viewers are taken on a journey through themes like grief, mental illness, and family dysfunction. The characters in this film experience supernatural events that gradually escalate into a terrifying climax. One of the most memorable scenes in Hereditary is when Charlie loses her head after sticking it out of the car window during a ride home from a party. It sets off a chain reaction of events that ultimately leads to tragedy. Overall, Hereditary delivers true horror through its eerie imagery and intense storytelling. It proves that sometimes what we inherit from our families can be more terrifying than any ghost or monster could ever be. And finally, our number 1 scariest horror movie of all time is The Conjuring. The Conjuring is a horror movie that has gained significant popularity since its release in 2013. The film is based on the real-life story of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were called upon to help a family terrorized by evil spirits in their Rhode Island farmhouse. The movie depicts the supernatural events that occurred during the Warrens' investigation, and how they battled against demonic forces to save the family. What makes The Conjuring one of the scariest horror movies of all time is its ability to create tension and fear through subtle scares. Director James Wan masterfully builds suspense throughout the film, using clever camera angles, haunting music, and jump scares that genuinely frighten viewers. Additionally, the performances by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson as Ed and Lorraine Warren adds depth to an already terrifying plot. Overall, The Conjuring's combination of real-life inspiration, expert filmmaking techniques, and powerful performances make it a truly scary horror movie that will leave you feeling spooked for days after watching it. Last movement on the video. In conclusion, the horror genre has been providing thrills and chills to audiences for decades. The top 10 scariest horror movies of all time showcase the diverse range of storytelling and filmmaking in this genre. From classics like The Shining and Psycho to modern favorites like Hereditary and The Conjuring, these films continue to terrify viewers. One commonality among these movies is their ability to tap into universal fears such as loss, isolation, and death. They also use effective techniques such as jump scares, unsettling music, and building tension through pacing. These elements combine to create a sense of dread that stays with audiences long after the film ends. Overall, while everyone has different opinions on what makes a horror movie truly scary, these top 10 choices have stood the test of time as some of the most spine-tingling films ever made. For those who dare to watch them alone at night with the lights off, be warned. Thanks for watching. See the next top 10 level video.